And good evening, everyone, and welcome to the East Brunswick Township Council meeting for July 24th, 2023. Will everyone please rise as we salute the flag, the Pledge of Allegiance, and remain standing for a moment of personal reflection. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Township Clerk, please call roll.
Councilman Hall.
Here.
Councilman Wendell.
Here.
Councilwoman Winston.
Here.
Councilwoman Zembicki. Here. Council President McAvoy.
Here.
Also present, Mayor Brad Cohen.
Here.
Administrator Joseph Criscullo.
Here.
And Township Attorney Michael Baker.
Here.
Township Clerk, would you please read our statement of adequate notice?
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required under Chapter 231 Public Law 1975 by specifying the time, date, location, and to the extent known, the agenda, by posting a copy on the bulletin board located in the main lobby of the East Brunswick Municipal Building, providing a copy to the Home News Tribune and Sentinel newspapers, posting a copy on the Township's website, and by filing a copy in the office of the Township Clerk, which will be entered into the minutes.
Thank you. Resolution number 23-216, resolution adopting meeting minutes from our July 10th, 2023 meeting. May I have a motion?
Motion approved.
Second?
Second.
Is there any clarification or correction on these minutes? Seeing none, will you call roll, please?
Councilman Hall.
Yes.
Councilman Wendell.
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zembicki. And Council President McAvoy.
Yes. Ordinance for a second reading, ordinance number 23-22. Township Clerk, would you read, please?
A bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements in and by the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, appropriated $40,300,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $40,300,000 in bonds or notes to finance various capital improvement projects.
Can I ask for a motion?
Motion to adopt.
And a second?
Second.
Ordinance 23-22 is in line for its second reading. Last week previous meeting, we had our first reading, and we had comprehensive presentations spearheaded by Mayor Cohn, then Mr. Kurt Heilig, who was a partner and Director of Design for the architectural firm of DMR. Then we heard from Mr. Keith Kipp, our Director of Planning and Engineering. Then it was our Division of Recreation, Mr. Mike Reisner, and his noteworthy presentation. And then the financial plan as outlined by our Chief Financial Officer, Ms. Angel Albanese. All of the information and discussion that followed highlighted the plan for an ice rink project that is under consideration by this governing body. Tonight, I will open the floor to the public for comment. Does anyone wish to address the chair on this issue?
Mr. President, may I just make a statement once you're done?
Sure, and following our public protocol, I will limit the comments to 5 minutes. Is there anyone who wants to take the chair? Please, 1 minute. Councilman Wendell.
I just wanted to, thank everyone that put their time into this. Myself, the redevelopment agency, and everyone else, and the mayor, and rec department, finance. But I just want to clarify, this is authorizing the bonds to be sold. This is not selling bonds until we get bids back, and clarify me if I'm wrong, until we get bids back and understand what the costs are going to be. We are authorizing this amount of bonding capacity to be set aside, is really what we're doing tonight. Is that correct?
Correct.
That's correct.
Yes.
Nothing will be bid or no bonds will be sold until we receive our bids and we understand that budgetary-wise we can afford this.
Correct. Thank you, Mr. Wendell. The floor is open. Anyone wishing to address the chair on this issue and this issue alone? We'll still need your name and address.
Troy Bailey, 16 Glen Court, East Brunswick. Just be short and sweet. I feel like I've spoken a lot on this subject the past several years. I just wanted to say that while I still have some concerns in my head and my gut, with the bottom of my heart, I hope this project does succeed for all the residents and just not just ice hockey fans, but everyone in this township. So let's go and let's do it good.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Please.
Good evening. Alex Miller, 6 Douglas. I came here to ask a simple question, which was, once this let's say once the bonds are approved to be sent out, sold, and stuff like that, will we have a final ballpark idea of what everything's going to be cost? That's where I'm kind of looking at for this, because we are looking at right now with the bonds at this point close to $50 million at this point, plus any additional costs that may come after that. So I'm just looking at what will be a ballpark part of see where people are when it comes to final expenses, that was going to affect anything, where it's taxes, or how it doesn't affect any other projects that are going to be happening within town. On top of that, how is this going to affect the flow once this project is built? I know we already are in the process of making an access road from the road that connects to Lowe's and that particular complex. So I'm just looking at what is going to be the general idea of how everything is going to affect once everything is approved, and the final cost of everything once everything is said and done. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else wishing to speak on this subject and this subject only? Seeing none, we'll close the public portion.
But
I beg your pardon. I did not see the hand. And then?
Good evening. My name is Louisa Lee, 10 Rachel Drive, here in East Brunswick. Louisa Lee, Louisa. I did have the opportunity to listen to the presentation, I think last presentation of council meeting. And I am glad to hear that the design is state of the art, and that would last us for a very long time. Okay. And I'm also glad to hear that there was a designated area for first aid. I think you mentioned that, as well as a full, a full service kitchen for the participants. When completed, I think this project would contribute to the community entertainment and offer affordable recreation option for the East Brunswick youth, as well as the economic growth of the community. There were a lot of presenters the last time. There were about 4 or 5 presenters, but I haven't heard anything about mentioning about the impact in climate as far as this construction is concerned. Okay. There is a growing concern of climate change. And my question is, are we exploring or implementing environmental friendly strategies in our design and operation of this building? Okay. There's 2 major concerns that I have: energy management as well as water management. It is not a secret that the ice rink consumes a lot of energy, because there are 2 competing measures. We have to have refrigeration, intense refrigeration for the ice rink, as well as heating for our spectators. Okay, so with that, there are refrigerant gases expelled or emitted, which is like carbon dioxide or carbon monoxide that is harmful to the environment. Also, the refrigeration is also associated with the use of ammonia or CO2. And if it is inhaled, this can cause respiratory issues. Probably they are using antifreeze, and they are highly toxic also. I don't know if there was a discussion about this behind the scenes, but I'm just putting this out so that, if there's comment or any discussion behind the scenes, I would know. Having said that, are we utilizing any renewable energy in this construction? Meaning that, are we using solar panel? Are we using technologies such as heat recapture and recycle it back to the heating system? I don't know. Maybe that was discussed. With the use of the ice resurfacing machine, this Zamboni, are we investing on electric-powered Zamboni? This will be in the future, but are we investing in electric-powered Zamboni, or are we still staying with fossil fuel, meaning use of gasoline, diesel fuel? Because if we stick with that, that is going to be an issue in the future.
You have 30 seconds left.
Okay. The second issue that I have is the use of water. Ice rink consumes a lot of water, and that commodity, that's a very scarce commodity now. Are we going to recycle water that is being picked up by the Zamboni from the slush or ice shaving? Are we going to recycle that, or do we have a pit where we could dump the snow? And that's all I have to say. And I am looking forward in the next 2 years. Hopefully, this project will come to life, because I think will be beneficial to East Brunswick.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
You would like to chime in, Mr. Criscuolo?
Sure, a couple of things on the
It's not going to be, you can return to your seat. It's not going to be an exchange.
on the actual refrigerant system. These are sealed systems, so nothing escapes from the sealed systems themselves. There's limited use of antifreeze around the connections, but they're all sealed, 100%. So nothing emits into the environment. The heat, there's only really one section of the building that is heated. That's the spectator area near the concession stand and the other spaces that are set aside for public use. So the rink itself doesn't get heated. It's only those specific rooms that get heated. The Zamboni, there's a few options. Certainly you don't use diesel and you don't use gasoline in them. The two choices are natural electric and natural gas. Those are the two that you have now. The electric ones have really come a long way. I've checked with other towns in which they have both, simply because they use one as a backup to the other, and they have a newer naturally electric, and their older one is natural gas. So natural gas in the facility does generate a little bit of a smell. Is it toxic? No, it's at the right levels and so on. So as we get to the point where we're going to be purchasing something like the Zamboni, we'll continue to track the technology and where it's going, and it's a perfect use for electric as well. And the shavings from the ice, it's dumped into a pit, and the pit leaches into the back of the site. The runoff from Lowe's and everything comes down through those creeks, and it runs down towards the auto reclaim centers, Ace Auto Wreckers, and where Sweeney's was. There's a whole series of tributaries and creeks that branch out there. But it's not a tremendous amount of water that's going to be generated. Generally, you don't reuse that product because it gets dirty. There's different things in there. Something could be picked up in the Zamboni. It's only a narrow resurfacing on top of the ice each time. So the largest amount of water that you use is when you're creating the ice, actually painting the ice, and then putting the final coat on it. But then the Zamboni, I mean, it's carried in a tank on top of the machine that can range anywhere from 30 to 50 gallons. So it doesn't use a tremendous amount of water.
Thank you, Mr. Criscuolo.
You're welcome.
Would anyone else like to address the chair? Please.
My name is Butch Seltzer. I live at 590 State Route 18. I am a member of the board for the ice arena. I'll try to answer a couple of the questions that were brought up. The gentleman in the back who was asking questions as far as funding, the $40 million bond, there's going to be some leftover. Something that's being looked at right now is a naming sponsor for the building. Might be called McAvoy's Ice Rink. Maybe.
Pushing.
Yeah. But we are seeking sponsors, mainly a title sponsor, which would certainly cover that overrun. The amount that's being discussed is anywhere between $2 to $3 million per year for an extended period of time. That's number one. So that would really cover any other expenses. As far as how much the rink is going to make itself, this is going, since we are in the middle of the center of Central Jersey, we will attract not only people from New Jersey, but as far away as Virginia, south, as far north as New England. So we are really going to be the Northeast's center of ice. There will be teams playing on Saturdays and Sundays from morning until night. So the revenues that are going to be brought in has been projected anywhere from the first year of $750,000 to possibly around 1.5 million, I believe, by year 3, and can only increase from there. We have food vendors that are going to be coming in. We will have possibly a separate vendor for sale of ice skates and equipment. So that revenue will also go towards the township, because this is a township-owned building. So most of the expenses, if not all of the expenses, will be covered by those extra revenues.
Thank you, Mr.
And it's going to be great.
Anyone else wishing to address the chair? This time we can close the public portion. Any comments from council? Councilman Wendell.
I just want to indicate again, this is proposed to be a self-liquidating asset, meaning that it pays all of its own expenditures, that is not a burden on the taxpayer, and it has been pro-formed in that fashion by our CFO. So, you know, while there are bond anticipation notes or bonds that will, you know, be generated underneath the township's purview, you know, at the end of the day, same as Crystal Springs. And Crystal Springs has performed year after year after year, even through COVID and everything else, and I give the mayor a lot of credit. You know, Crystal Springs pays all its own bills. Crystal Springs is not a burden to the taxpayer, and the intent is that this facility will not be a burden to the taxpayer either. Correct?
Yes, even Mayor Cohen, would you like to?
I think the only thing that I wanted to add was to you know, obviously we're not inflating the 40 million to 50 million. That's a 25% increase. If I did that to people's taxes, well, I would never hear the end of it. It's a $40 million is what we are bonding for, and it will all depend on what those bids come in at. And that's an all-in number. That number included the building, the equipment. So it was a all-in number, and it was pretty fairly priced out. What we would not want to have happen is to put out a number, and then when bids come in, they are significantly higher than what we anticipated, and we knew that from the beginning. That would be, something that we would absolutely not want to do. Hopefully, it'll be less than the 40 million. That'd be even greater. But based on the estimates that we got for the cost, the equipment, the furnishings, all of that, we came up with a conservative estimate, and that's what we're asking the council here to approve in the way of a bond. And of course, once the bids come in, they come back to the council for your approval. But it's a fair, open, and transparent process, which we've initiated from day one when we started out talking about community space that could come from the benefit of the redevelopment money that comes into the township, which has already started to happen.
Any other comments from council?
One more, sir.
Councilman Wendell.
Just listening to Mayor speak, I just wanted to add something and put it on the record that everyone understands that, this $40 million is for the structure and the furnishings. We, as a township and a redevelopment agency, negotiated all of the significant site improvements. So that's the parking lot, the drainage, the site lighting, the landscaping, utilities, water and sanitary to the building. That was all negotiated with the developer of 110 Tisus that is providing all of that at their costs, as well as the land. So, this is, the cost benefit here is tremendous, and I just wanted to say, the developers contributed a lot, and we'd like to thank them for what they've done, and I think we'd like to thank everyone that was on that negotiating committee that negotiated all these improvements to that site.
And the state, which contributed $3 million.
Yep.
Anyone else from council? Township clerk, you call roll.
Councilman Bahal?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy?
Yes.
Thank you.
Let's move to our public portion and let's go to our report section and begin with Mayor.
Thank you, Council President. I did want to announce to folks that the Middlesex County Board of Taxation did actually give us our tax rate for this year. And once we got the tax rate from the Middlesex County, it gives us all the levies for the schools, the county, our fire department, and we can actually, once we have that, generate a final tax bill. At the end, it really comes out to a 0.3% increase for this year's tax rates. So it's basically, for most people living here, it's a flat tax for this year. Now, I know folks got a third quarter estimate. That is an estimate. The township is obligated to provide a third quarter estimate if the Middlesex County Board of Taxation hasn't provided the tax rate by the time we have to send out the bills. And the township has the leeway of putting out an estimate that is either 5% below or 5% above, within that range of last year's taxes. This year we took a conservative approach and stuck with the tax cap of 2%. So we assumed 2%. So your third quarter bill went up to assume that there was going to be a 2% increase. Now that we know that the increase really is marginal, what you'll end up seeing is the difference made up in your fourth quarter payment. So your fourth quarter payment will actually be lower, significantly lower than what you had in the third quarter to make up for that difference. So that's good news for all of us and for taxpayers here in East Brunswick. In preparation of the tax bill going out, I put together a 4-part series explaining property taxes, which is available to be viewed on EBTV. Each segment is about 20-25 minutes. The first segment talks about how to read your tax bill. The second segment talks about what you get for the 20% of your tax bill that really is coming from the township, because as you know, your tax bill is composed of several different tax levies. Your municipal portion is only 20% of that total bill. So we wanted to make sure you knew what you got for that 20%. The third is on the history of taxes, to figure and show folks how we got to where we are, because it is very complicated and a very long history. And then finally, after we understand all of that, the last segment talks about why taxes in New Jersey are relatively high compared to a lot of other states once you understand all those other factors. And so I hope people have an opportunity to view that, because it was meant to clarify a process that is extraordinarily complicated and doesn't have to be. And finally, I just wanted to thank the VFW yesterday and all of the sponsors, including the East Brunswick Education Association and the Mayor's Charity, for supporting the race for veterans, and specifically those from the, what was their, forgot the organization that they were sponsoring. Wounded Warriors, exactly, thank you. For such a worthwhile turnout. The weather was perfect, and I did run it. I didn't think I could feel worse about myself till I actually saw the picture of me crossing the finish line. And but I thank everybody who participated and contributed to the VFW. They're a great organization, and we all support them.
Our Business Administrator, Mr. Crisculo.
No report this evening.
Our Attorney, Mr. Baker.
No report.
Township Clerk, Ms. Lawful.
No report.
Council members, any report on committees or boards?
I have one.
Yes.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Zambicki.
Thank you. Rec and Parks, we are right now doing a school supply drive going on now through August 12th. You can drop off your supplies at the entrance of the Parks and Rec office on Dunham's Corner Road. They are taking paper and notebooks, glue sticks, binders, Keller pencils, highlighters, crayons, markers, and composition books. And gift cards to Walmart and Target are greatly appreciated. So if you can donate any of that before August 12th, it would be greatly appreciated. Also want to thank our Parks and Rec staff for doing a great job in serving up hot dogs and chips on National Hot Dog Day right here at the Municipal Complex. And thanks to Stop and Shop for being a generous supporter. And Acoustic Mondays continue each Monday through the month of August at 7 p.m. We were outside listening to some great music tonight, so please stop by on Mondays at 7 to enjoy.
Thank you, Councilwoman Zambicki. Let's open the meeting to the public. Will the Township Clerk please read our public comment statement?
The public comment portion of our meeting is to allow the public to bring to the council's attention their concerns or comments. In accordance with NJSA 10:4-12A and the East Brunswick Rules of Council, the council asks the public to limit their comments to 5 minutes or less. At the conclusion of the statements or questions from a member of the public, the council president, at his discretion, may choose to respond, not respond, or ask the administration to respond.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address the chair? Please.
Council, Mr. Mayor, Tom Ingrasani, 58 Deerfield Road. I found out through one of my court meetings last Wednesday, there's a tax-free for seniors. And I have a website here, but I also have a phone number if you like to write it down. It's you have to be respond by October 1st. And I think it freezes the tax on the person's house if they can't afford it if you make under $100,000. So if you want that number, I'll give it to you. 1-800-882-6597. And the website's too easy. Just call that number. And basically they'll tell you what you have to do. One of my neighbors already gets it. She just got a $700 check because she doesn't make under that, that much money. But it's worth a try. And as far as these new appliances they're talking about, this government, no more gas stoves, wash machines, dishwashers. I mean, I hope that doesn't come soon because that is expensive to do. And the other thing is, I know Con Edison in New York, they're going to raise their rates 9% in the next 2 months and double within 2 years. You think we ever see that here? I hope not. So it's just a thought. And I'm very surprised about you only get 200 miles on an electric vehicle. Does anybody have one on a full charge? 300. Excuse me? I get 300. 300? There you go. Okay, but then to put the cost in your house to put your own thing is about $4,000. And just to let you know. So, all right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ingrasani.
Council President, the senior tax REIT's been something that's been in existence for a long time. Also, information is available at the tax collector's office, and the senior center will be more than happy to help any senior that qualifies for that to get the proper paperwork and so on. Naturally, we certified the rate. They'll come in, and the ladies in the tax office take care of them.
Thank you, Mr. Criscuolo.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I just wanted to, again, clarify that, and that is an important issue that you brought up, by the way, the senior freeze. Right now, it varies every year what the income requirement is. Right now, it's $99,000. You have to make underneath that, but every year it changes, and it freezes your tax rate at the rate you paid when you're 65, assuming that you applied when you're 65. It behooves you not to apply because the floor for your tax rate is what it is at 65, even if you didn't qualify then. So that if you qualify 2-3 years later, it will revert to the rate you paid when you were 65, which means that even if you know you don't qualify now, you should still apply. And that's a program that's been around actually for a while. The new one that was just approved this year in the budget process for the state is a program called Stay New Jersey. Stay New Jersey, which is a program that was put together by the governor, the Speaker of the Assembly, and the Senate President, is for seniors, defined as anybody over age 65, who is making under $500,000 a year, which I would assume is most seniors. And what that does is it allows you to get half of your property taxes back from the state up to $6,500. I believe they intend to it's enacted, but I think the first time people could apply is 2 years from now because they want to get the system in, but it's a state program, and you would pay, just like a senior freeze, you pay your taxes to the township and the state refunds you the difference. So I think those are all designed specifically with seniors in mind, knowing that they're on fixed incomes and their ability to handle tax increases is a lot different than it is for most others. So I think those are efforts that were well served, and we don't want our seniors to feel like they have to leave the state of New Jersey when they retire.
Mr. Bailey?
Troy Bailey, 16 Glen Court, East Brunswick. Should hopefully keep this brief as well. I just wanted to speak on the redevelopment option tonight for Cranberry Road. The questions I had related to that was, did the township explore using open space funds to acquire the land? The lot currently, I believe, abuts on at least 2 of the sides with open space currently, so I believe it would behoove the township to purchase that land for open space. Additionally, why are we redeveloping the land instead of rezoning the land? From my kind of limited zoning knowledge, if I call it that, it's currently zoned as a option village green, which only permits single-family detached structures, public buildings such as public schools, township facilities, quasi-public buildings such as places of worship, parks, playgrounds, and other public recreation and open space uses. I believe potentially rezoning this land would be a better use than redeveloping it. I'm not sure if that would adjust potentially how it would be developed, but I believe rezoning it would be a better way of controlling what goes in this zone instead of redeveloping it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Anyone else wishing to address the chair? Please.
Alex Yeoman, 6 Douglas. On a lighter note, I wanted to just talk about something much more happy and really good news. First thing I want to say is I'm a proud New Jerseyan, and soon I'll be able to say I'm a proud Central Jerseyan because of all the talk right now in Trenton about recognizing Central Jersey as a unique and independent part of the state. Which is something that I talked to a lot of my friends who are from upstate and down the shore, and they say, oh, Central Jersey's not a thing. You're either from North Jersey or you're from South Jersey. Well, with the current legislation that is currently in works, we'll be able to be recognized as our own thing, which is great. Especially with the projects we're talking about with the ice rink and other improvements throughout town, we can actually say that we are from here. We're not up, we're not down, we are our own thing. We are in the center of the New Jersey, we're in the center of the state, center Middlesex, and center of Central Jersey. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Stone. Anyone else wishing to address the chair? Close the public portion. Resolution 23-217. Township Clerk, will you read, please?
Resolution of the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, designated Block 87, Lot 10.07, located at the corner of Riders Lane and Cranberry Road as a non-condemnation area in need of redevelopment, and directing the Planning Board to prepare a redevelopment plan for review and consideration by the Township Council.
Can I have a motion?
Motion adopted.
And a second.
Second.
Thank you. Let's go. Let me call on Mr. Baker for some comments.
Thank you,
Attorney, Mr. Baker?
thank you, Council President. This is the second step in the redevelopment process for this parcel at the corner of Cranberry and Riders Lane. And to Mr. Bailey's point, redevelopment is the rezoning of a property, but for a very narrow, specific purpose. Rather than going through the master plan process or having a partial reevaluation, which is a much bigger undertaking to redo the zoning, the council has started the process of having the area declared in need of redevelopment. The next step will be sending it back to the planning board, where the planning board will develop the redevelopment plan, which is a zoning ordinance for the property. So it is a rezoning, but by a different operation, different section of the statute under the local housing and redevelopment law. This is the second step. In March, the council sent this to the planning board to study it, whether it qualified. The planning board retained a professional planner. The planner produced a report, testified, and they recommend that it does meet the qualifications for a non-condemnation area. This is not condemnation. This is a non-condemnation area. Next step, if the council approves it tonight, is the clerk will notice the Director of Department of Community Affairs will notice the affected property owner, and you're referring this back to the planning board to develop the redevelopment plan, which is a zoning ordinance in essence. So step number 2 out of 5.
Thank you. And let the record note that that Mayor Cohn and myself are both on planning board, and we'll keep this audience abreast of what's going on. Councilman Wendell?
Shouldn't this be being referred to the redevelopment agency to develop the plan, and then the redevelopment agency sends it to the planning
So
board?
this was multiple internal discussions. The redevelopment agency doesn't have a legal place in the process. The redevelopment agency, however, is working on this and is going to recommend it, and it will go to the planning board, but it's the planning board that has the legal authority to produce the report.
Just wanted to make sure we're not missing a step in the process, as we've done it before, that the redevelopment agency is going to work with the potential developers and with the planner to
Correct.
develop the plan, and then we'll make we'll prepare a resolution from the agency recommending this plan to the planning board, to the council and the planning board.
You don't even need to adopt the resolution. You can just
I know, but we
refer it
tend to do
over.
that
But you
by-
like to. You like resolutions. Everybody likes them.
The redevelopment agency is simply, not simply, take that back, is an extension of the executive branch of our government. And so the separation of powers with the redevelopment agency being involved in the process just demonstrates this to a further degree. Mayor Cohn, did you want to?
Sure. For those who aren't aware, we're talking about the property that sits at the corner of Cranberry Road and Riders Lane. It had been, a large portion of that was made open space under the Lipinski sale. And 6 acres of it, literally on the corner, was left to the family and was not part of open space. The township had considered whether or not we were going to use our open space funds to purchase it, but the developer came in with a project that we thought was consistent with what our plans were and what already exists on that corridor. And for those who have not heard, the plan is for a continuous care unit, similar to a assisted living, but it's a combination of independent, assisted, and memory care, which is going to be a beautiful building on a corridor that already has a well-known and established medical corridor, which I think will contribute to the corridor and will contribute much greater revenue to the township, and is a piece of property that, had it not gone back to open space and was just open to the zoning in which it sits right now, would have allowed the owner of the property to put a lot of things there that the town would not have preferred on that location. And it really isn't a great spot for apartments, or first of all, we really don't want to build any more apartments until the apartments that we're already obligated to build are finished being built. And single-family homes, most of the other uses, it's just a difficult piece of property because you can't access it you can really only access it easily from one side of Cranberry Road. If you were on the opposite side, you have to basically drive all the way down to the rescue squad and turn around to come back. So it makes its use significantly limited. But for the purpose which we're looking to move in the direction, it's actually perfect. So that was the thought process behind using that piece of property for something like this, and using the redevelopment designation to try to remove some of the blighted property that's there already.
Thank you, Mayor Cohn, for the clarification there, in case those in the audience or those at home have not heard. Any comments from council? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Abstain.
And Council President McAvoy?
Yes. Move to our consent agenda, resolutions 23-218 through resolution 23-229. Before we ask for a motion, do any of these resolutions need to be separated? Councilwoman Winston?
23-224, please.
Can I have a motion for resolutions 23-218 through 23-223, as well as resolution 223-225 through resolution number 23-229?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy?
Yes. Resolution 23-224, can I have a motion? I'll make that motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Behal. Councilwoman Winston?
I have a question. I notice here this is a pocket license and it is inactive. why would one want to renew an inactive license? And is this for a business? The reason I'm asking is because there are small businesses in East Brunswick that would like to upgrade for profit margins and things like that to an actual license. And I think the lack of, I know it's changing now, but the lack of available liquor licenses in the state historically has been a burden on new business owners who would like to start new businesses here. So I'm just curious to know if anyone here has the answer.
Mr. Baker, do you want to tackle that?
I will tackle it in part. I don't know the specifics of this license, but license owners have a right to apply for the carryover of a pocket license. There is state legislation that's been discussed, and it's actually made some progress, but it didn't get done by June 30. That would reduce or stop the process of rolling these over year after year so that there would be more available. I think the legislature is going to take that up again in the fall.
Okay, they should.
Mr. Crisco, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, and keep in mind, this is for a distribution license. This is a liquor store. It's not for a restaurant or anything of that nature. So it is specifically for distribution only. So, you know, sometimes there's not really a good market for that. So people that are in business have to weigh whether if they want to execute or take it out of pocket and open a business based upon the economy and retail space and so on.
If I may.
Councilman Wendell.
Does anyone know how long this license has actually been in pocket?
It's been in pocket for many years.
I believe that there is an ability for this governing body to force this license to activate.
So I just wanted to comment.
Yeah.
So this particular license was previously owned by Martini Discount Liquors. It is a distribution license as stated by Mr. Criscullo. The current owner is now Anna Sienkel. She is interested in selling this specific license. She's just hoping to find a buyer. However, until then, she should continue to renew her license to ensure that it remains in good standing so that when there is a person-to-person transfer of the license, it can be transferred correctly. The license cannot be transferred if it's not renewed or if it's not currently approved by the Township Council in the state of New Jersey.
When did this current owner purchase the license?
It wasn't purchased. It was acquired through a divorce settlement.
Listen, I'd like to hear more information about this and understand more information about how long these licenses can stay in pocket, because I'm not comfortable just renewing pocket licenses year after year after year that aren't being forced to be put into circulation. We have a certain number of licenses in our town based upon our population, and based upon that population, we should have the ability to that I'm sure there's a formula that puts those licenses in play based upon population, and because of that, ideally, there should be enough revenue to be generated by this license for someone to open it up in town. And as such, I'm going to tell you what, I would make a motion to table this.
Let me ask the clerk a question. When does the license expire?
June 31st of 2024.
Current license?
Well, the license already expired. They're just trying to renew from July 1st through June of 2024.
So if we don't renew it tonight, does it die?
It doesn't die. No, it does not. However, it does put the license holder in a predicament if they're interested in selling the license.
I'm just looking to potentially understand more information as to how long it can stay in pocket, how long it's been in pocket, and, you know, to understand that just because this license holder has made a statement to the clerk, no offense, that she's looking to sell, we don't know how long that process can take.
So recently, there was an interested buyer. I'm not sure exactly what the conversation is, as I'm not privy to that information. However, the license holder sounded extremely excited, thinking that it could be possible viable sale in the future. So it's something that she's looking into. But there are people who are interested in purchasing the license.
We do have the ability to table this for a couple of weeks or a month. It won't affect anything.
To interrupt you, you would not recommend us moving forward on this and then having an additional
I think
motion
that-
to,
I think the
I
clerk's
don't- I
preference
don't-
in mind
I
is
don't-
that we not hold
don't
this
see a
lady up
reason
and
to not renew the
risk her
Right.
license.
that's what I say. And then we have you, and then
You have an ongoing discussion, this is a
move on
larger
this, and
larger
then
issue.
also move on what Councilman Wendell's talking about.
But approval of this tonight will not come back to us. If we approve this, it will not come back to us for 12 months,
For a year, 11 and a half months,
unless it transfers.
correct.
That's correct.
And listen, I think if this has been in pocket for 6 to 10 years, I think it's something that we need to
Look
Well,
into it.
put
thing is
forth you know,
The applicant paid all of the required fees and followed all the necessary steps. There's really no reason not to approve it. Plus,
aside from the fact that it's not active.
that is correct, it's not active, but
As such, it's not generating tax revenue.
it does financially benefit the township because the township received $2,500 in revenue in order to renew the license. The mayor.
Mayor Cohn.
I mean, I don't disagree that it's a big problem holding these pocket licenses and preventing honest people who want to come in and actually utilize it and contribute to the town and contribute to businesses and contribute to the tax base. But is this something that a township council has the ability to legislate even though the state hasn't acted on it?
It's an interesting, the state allows you to renew or not renew. So you have the choice to do that. You can't do anything that the statute doesn't allow you to do. So depending on what the council's intentions are after this, it's not like we grab it and we go sell it.
So can the council put an expiration to the number of years you can keep a license in pocket, after which the person would be forced to sell?
I don't know the answer to that question.
I have always been told by several people in the past that there is a limitation on how long you can keep a license in pocket, and that is regulated by the Alcohol and Beverage Commission.
Correct.
And as such, it's only the town council that can overreach the ABC in that regard in indicating that we're going to allow them to keep it in pocket. Otherwise, I was always told it was 2 years in pocket and you had to activate it.
No, so the licenses can be inactive for 2 years.
Right.
And after the 2 years, they have to seek relief from the state of New Jersey in order to renew. They cannot renew until the state has approved their relief. And the state has actually approved this specific application, which is the reason why it's before the council for renewal.
I'd like to make a motion to table this until our next meeting.
We have a motion on the table.
Second.
So which way are we going?
You have to, the council gets to vote the way the council gets to vote. I think the clerk and I would prefer the item not be tabled, but it's the
Right.
council's call.
So I'm also agreeing with our attorney with regard to moving on this, and then also setting up a separate resolution to investigate what Councilman Wendell's talking about.
Well, if I may, there is a motion to table in a second on,
You have to take a vote on it.
so we need to take
That
a vote
motion
on
takes, Jim's
Right,
motion
takes precedence. The one here takes precedence, so we have to...
No, the motion to
The
table
motion to
takes
table
precedence.
takes precedent.
Oh, okay.
Can I ask a question? Council President?
Yes.
How many of these licenses in East Brunswick are in pocket right now?
We have
What are we
two.
talking? Two?
There are two.
And this is one of the two?
This is one, which is a distribution license, so a liquor store, and the second is Sunny Palace, which has been inactive for, since the pandemic, I believe, about 2 years or so, 2-3 years.
I would like to know more information on how long it's been in pocket, who the ownership was, and all of that before I am able to opine on this.
So we have a motion.
I don't think holding this off till our next meeting will change anything.
So there's a motion,
It was seconded.
and the motion was seconded?
The table, so
It
got to do
needs-
roll call.
It needs
Roll call.
3 votes at the table.
Right. Roll call.
Councilmember Hall,
I will vote yes to table.
Councilman Wendell,
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston,
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambiki,
No.
Council President McAvoy.
No.
This has been tabled.
Motion's tabled.
So moved on to the good of the cause. Anyone?
Just like to, again, echo the mayor's comments earlier about the VFW yesterday, the 5K. It's fantastic. I personally, while I signed up and paid, I took the option of going and packing up hot dogs and hamburgers for everyone rather than doing the walk. I thought it was the honorable way of not walking in the race.
It was probably hotter than walking in the race.
It might have been. I got grease all over me, that's all. But, they do a great job. They're a great, part of the community, and you got to thank Tommy Kuhil and everybody else over there that donates all their time. So it's a great event. Thank you to Wayne Lyons as well.
Councilwoman Zambiki?
Yep. Thank you. Just want to remind everybody that the Mayor's Charity Gala is October 17th at the Park Chateau. You can find information on Facebook and at ebmayorsgala@gmail.com. This year, the honorees are Mr. Alexander, Danielle Blaylock from the East Brunswick Public Schools, Northfield Bank, and the East Brunswick Women's Club. So there's a lot of great things to celebrate on October 17th. So consider coming out and joining us.
East Brunswick PBA Golf Tournament on August 30th at Mercer Oaks Golf Course in Princeton, at the Princeton Junction. Contact Sergeant Tom Appel at PBA 145 golf@ebpd.net. It's $175 for golf and lunch. August 13th is the due date in which your money should be in. It is a fundraiser for the EBPBA. And do we have a motion to close?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Good night.